In this next section, we'll be talking about what are the roles of dreams within Islam itself. And this is a quote that was taken. The supernatural and suspicious phenomenon are prominent sources of religious significance for Muslims. And bear repeating, the supernatural and superstitious phenomenon are the prominent sources of significance. So if God is going to speak to them, would he not use the things within their own culture that are priorities and prominent? So dreams and decision making are really important. I'll give you a story. I was taking some students and we went and visited different religious centers in the Chicago area. And the last visit was at a mosque up on the north side of Chicago. And it was a very unique time in which the imam of the mosque opened up and was very vulnerable. He himself is Bosnian, and he had a lot of Arabs within his mosque. He said that he would not make a decision without first seeking guidance from his spiritual mentor. So he said what he would do is he would sit down and type an email about what the decision needs to be made, what was the discussion was going on, and wanting to know an answer to it. He would then send the email to his spiritual leader, which was in the Mediterranean. He would then print it out. He would put it under his pillow and then would go and sleep at night. He would have a nocturnal dream in regards to what this was. In the morning, he would type out the dream and its interpretation, email it back to him, and he would then, the imam of that mosque, would make his decision. So if the significance of the supernatural is so important that the person would do these types of things, it is the way that God interacts and breaks into our world is through the dreams or through visions. So the zodiac is an important thing. Horoscopes are important. Dreams, when the unseen world breaks into this world. I asked a friend of mine who was from the Middle East, and he said one of the things that they do for fun, the men will go to cafes and drink tea. And the topics they will usually talk about is, what was your dream last night? Now you ask an American, what was your dream last night? And they would go, yeah, I had a bunch of weird dreams. I don't remember what they were, but I mean, yeah, they were just, I didn't sleep well because, you know, it was all kinds of weird stuff. And we just sort of dismiss it and leave it alone. But for them, they would know what it is, consciously try to remember it, and it becomes a way of talking and interacting with other people. So that's the difference between American culture, and you sit down, okay, what do you got on your agenda? What are you doing? How are the kids? Or, well, it's this type of stuff, where theirs is much more, okay, what has broken in from the unseen world in your life? So even within the, you have the Quran, but then you have the Hadith, which are the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. So I have here the Hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari. And Bukhari is the most authentic and trusted sources of the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. So in book 91, the title is Interpretation of Dreams, and 6,982 to 7,047. So at this point, we've got 6,000 of these sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. And, it continues on, so it's volumes rather than a book. It's like an encyclopedia. So here are 68 sayings of the Prophet Muhammad just in regards to dreams, to give you an indication of just how important this is. So if you want to know, like, what are some of them, some of the hadiths and dreams are these. Sahih Bukhari 87 says, it's a hadith which has interpretation of dreams. So it's just interpretation of dreams, not just the total thing on dreams, but interpretation of dreams. There are 61 hadiths or sayings of Muhammad on how to interpret dreams. Now, Sahih Bukhari is not the only one that has sayings of Muhammad. Sahih Muslim also has 40 references to dreams in book 29 and book 29 it says the book of visions. The Quran speaks of 3 vehicles of revelation. So you have dreams, you have oracles, and you have words. So dream is the Prophet Ibrahim, Muhammad, or Abraham as we would say, got guidance in a dream. So that's one of the mentions within the Quran in regards to this. As far as for an oracle, God spoke to Moses in the fire. So that as well was a kind of dream that was done. It's these oracles that are used. And then lastly, the speech, the angel Gabriel spoke to Muhammad with words. So that is the third way that these things are done. So I had mentioned the zodiac. When we used to get newspapers, there was the section that would have, what is your sign, and this is what's going to happen today, and people would look at it and it was like, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. But in the Middle East, yeah, it's according to how you were born, yeah. So your month, your date, and that type of thing is. So in the Middle East, in many parts of these worlds, that is a guidance. You wouldn't do anything without checking first your sign and what's being said on that. But also in regards to interpretation, this is kind of an interesting one. I got a book out of the library at College of DuPage County. And in this, he talks about you have days of the month where dreams are false. Days of the months in which the interpretation of the dream is opposite of what it is. Then there are days of the month which are true dreams. Then there are dreams on other days which are delayed dreams. And then there are worthless dreams. Now, if we used a calendar like this, we would probably have all the days of the month as worthless dreams. But they have, some of these things as to how you can know which days and what it is in regards to dreams. And I'm showing this to say how important the middle world is for many people that are not Western. And if this is such an important area, would God not use this? So the practice of this, which is dream incubation. So how do we do this? It's istakara. It is how do you incubate to make sure that you're getting a dream. So my imam friend, this is what he would have gone through. But there were 60 interviews with Muslims in the UK, North America, Europe, and Pakistan, revealed that night dreams are being used to make the choices on issues like marriage, business, career, development, and politics. So this is what has come up from that research. Typically, this whole incubation of dreams is learned by family members. So you pass it down to each other as to how to do it. To do it properly, you have to sleep on your right side, because Muhammad slept on his right side. So you don't sleep on your left side. And then what you want to do is to hold on to the question that you want to address. So for the imam, when he got the email, he typed it out, put it underneath the pillow, and then he would have really wanted to go at night wanting to hold that question into his mind as he went to sleep. Then you have to look for the answer in the following morning. And here's just some of the things that they, when Dr. Edgar did this research, he said that what was important was white or green imagery of important religious figures or beautiful things would indicate that the proposed action was positive. So in your dream, if you have white or green, important religious figures or beautiful things, this is a positive one. And I want you to remember this when I go further. Okay? So these things are important. Black, yellow, red, or an unpleasant person or ugly things means that the dream is going to be negative. It'll be not a positive outcome. So these are important things.